Plants vs. Zombies Replanted released about 2 weeks ago at this point, and honestly, even with the Switch 2 releasing, this was one of my most anticipated games of 2025. I've wanted a console release of PvZ, or just an HD version on computer, for a long time now, and finally, it got announced in a Nintendo Direct. I was hyped, but then we got to the few weeks before the game released. The floodgates of bad news opened, and it caused a lot of controversy. But now that the game is out and my thoughts have festered, we need to answer this one simple question. Is the game really that bad? Well, we'll see in this video. PvZ Replanted released on October 23rd, 2025, or it was supposed to. But the game really started off on the wrong foot. You could basically play the game a week or so early by using an exploit or something. I'm not going to get too into it, but you could play it early on PC. And people were livid. The game had a whole skew of problems. The sprites were using AI to upscale, the game was a complete buggy mess, the music was out of whack, basically everything about the game was terrible. It was really not pretty at all. This caused a massive uproar in the PvZ community, especially due to the fact that they faked concept art that's still in the final game. And they also didn't use just PvZ1 artwork, they used Garden Warfare artwork, which is pretty weird considering they said that they're going to use PvZ1 artwork, but I digress. Yeah, it wasn't pretty, but it wasn't the final release of the game, so let's cut them some slack. So let's fast forward a week or two until the game released on October 17th. I got this game day one on Switch 2, PS5, and PC. I first played it on Switch 2 because I really wanted a touchscreen. And going into it, my biggest problem so far is the bushes on the right side of the screen. It feels kinda shoehorned and lazy. Why can't they just have it like it usually was when it first released? Anyway, continuing on, the most obvious issue is the music. I mean, just take a listen. It instantly plays the Horde version of the song. This is the normal song, which is supposed to be played at the start before the zombies come in. Yeah, it's pretty distracting to be honest. Having this dramatic music play when no zombies are on the screen is pretty weird. There's also a huge slew of bugs and glitches, which as of filming a week later, hasn't been patched out. The touchscreen on Nintendo Switch 2 is pretty much broken, especially in Endless. If you use the touchscreen to place a plant, the plant won't recharge, so it'll be unusable for the rest of the level. Touchscreen in general just sucks anyway. Pumpkins and garlics are the biggest issue because they just don't show health for some reason. In the original game, the garlic would start crying and the pumpkin would start degrading, but that's absent from this game. You basically just have to play it by ear, and it's really annoying when you're trying to grind in Endless. There's just a lot of random bugs and glitches. Sometimes lawnmowers don't activate, other times zombies just kinda glitch into the screen, some plants aren't centered, the twin sunflower looks terrible. It's just a really buggy game and should have not released in this state. And the thing is, we shouldn't have to wait for a patch, it should have been perfectly fine from the start. Apparently from what I've read, they've only had around 6 months of development time for this game, which is pretty pathetic. And I think they based this off some random obscure mobile version of the game, but don't quote me on that. They definitely didn't base this off the Game of the Year version, that's for sure. The one thing I will defend them on is that there doesn't seem to be AI artwork in the final game. Apparently it was just files that were unused and used as reference pictures for them to trace over or something. So that's a good thing I guess. And the game itself is just fine. It's still playable, it's still PvZ, which is an amazing game, but it definitely launched in a really rocky state. PC's already been patched with a bunch of fixes, but the console versions have not been lucky so far, hopefully in the near future. So the game itself, I still think that the Game of the Year version is better. Heck, even the DS version of the game is better. Don't get me wrong, I still love PvZ. I remember the first time I played PvZ was at a Chili's restaurant around 10 years ago. It was on like one of those kiosk things that are on the table, I don't know. But I have very vivid memories of playing it. And I used to grind PvZ2 a lot 5 years ago. I probably played it more than PvZ1. If PvZ2 got a port to consoles and PC, I'd buy that instantly for $70. So is PvZ Replanted worth $20? Well, personally, I'd say no if you don't really like PvZ that much. I purchased it because I love PvZ, so I'll basically buy it because I want to play it on PC, PS5, and Switch 2. Switch 2 for portability, PS5 to play it on the TV, and PC when I'm at my computer. But I understand that people don't want to buy it and just want to stick with the $5 Game of the Year edition. Let's hope PopCap and EA don't remove that off the Steam store once they see Replanted's bomb reviews. I will admit that the community is pretty insufferable right now. They're finding literally every single excuse to be mad at this game. Whether it be the concept art, whether it be anything else about the game, they'll just complain about everything. And I do think that the concept art is bad. It doesn't really affect the game at all, because it's not gameplay. The critiques are valid with the gameplay, and I do have issues with it, but at least the patches are making it better, which should have been there in the first place. It should have had a year to a year and a half in development time, period. 6 months is not nearly enough time for this game. Let's just hope if they ever remake PvZ2, it's actually a good port, and I hope it gets time and effort put into it, but I doubt we'll get that on PC and console because it has too many microtransactions. A guy can only dream. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Comment if you think PvZ Replanted is worth $20, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.